How we doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Tim, you've had as much experimentation as anybody, any coach in any position. So, how's it going for you going into the first game?
It's been great. We're going to play by committee a little bit this year, and that's a good thing. That just tells you that you've, your depth evolved to the point where when your first team or second team guy is really right at about the same level, and we want to get a bunch of guys on the field and keep them in the game. It's going to help us in special teams. It's going to help us in our defensive depth. And, everybody's been working hard to help that along. So excited for that to show up on Saturday.
You said from the very beginning that, you felt good about your depth at linebacker, maybe since you've been here. What does that kind of say that you got Curtis and Caleb that are both going to play for you? I mean, that's a unique situation.
It is, with Caleb moving inside. It took some time to make that transition from outside to inside. Buzzy's played, Curtis Bolton's played both positions, and he's probably a little more comfortable in there right now. But we have some defenses where we can, actually put all our athletes on the field as much as possible, and there's going to be situations where both of them are on there at the same time.
Was it hard to come to that decision? Was it just watching them in practice? You just knew it just seemed to fit that they could both play?
Yeah, it definitely did. It's for us. We felt like coming out of last year, we just need to be a little bit more athletic if we can get those 11 guys on the field. And you get stretched so much with these offenses nowadays that you got to be sideline to sideline with your defense, and so that was part of the reasoning behind that.
Tim, it'd be hard to get any thinner than you were inside at the end of last year. It was just a point of, no, I'm going to develop as many guys as I can.
Well, yeah, and you're right. I mean, we had some situations last year that just put us in that particular ballpark, and Mike and I both, we looked at that, and when we were able to bring in 4 new linebackers this year, and that obviously helped our depth too. And we really lose Obo, and we lose Emmanuel Beal, who gave us a lot of good minutes, but at the same time, we had a lot of guys get a lot of experience last year, and I think the payoff for us is having those 4 freshmen that started at the end of the year at all the positions, coming forth and getting better, and that's certainly gonna help us moving forward to the season.
Kenneth Mann looks like he's maybe your biggest leader on defense. Talk about his overall development from a year ago.
Kenneth Mann has probably had the best camp of anyone up front. Really our development up front has been great. We're trying to do some things with those guys up front to get a little more penetration and allow the second level players to play off of them. I think that's been a really good situation for all of us concerned that lets them tee off a little bit more, and we have to do that with all the RPOs we're getting because, when you got the run pass situations, we just didn't adjust. We were too thick, last year up front, and so we're trying to get on edges and help that situation just as.
How much would it help if those guys play as well as you think they're going to play?
It helps a ton. Certainly for us. Anytime you can command double teams and not have guys climbing to second level players right away, that's really an important phase of what we're trying to get accomplished defensively, and it's probably been the biggest bonus for us in camp this year moving forward.
We've all seen, or we've all heard, and he's talked about it, Kenneth Murray, and how much he really studies film and gets in there. Have you seen it translate better to the field this fall?
I definitely have, and I the big thing for him was vision, and when you're playing inside, you have to have big vision, and all the guys inside have to have big vision. When you're on the edge, you can see things in a triangular fashion that's a little more simple to read, but when you're inside, you have to see both schemes, the zone and the gap schemes in there, and you have to understand your angles. And Kenneth's got much better vision, and that's allowed him to play with more confidence, I would say, is the right word for this camp.
He says he wants to know every position on defense. He's going to take that on his own plate. Is he really progressing that far?
Well, it's important for those inside guys to understand where their help is inside and out. And I'd like him to know where all 11 guys are. I'm really going to be happy just him understanding the mic position first and playing off the will. So let's start with that, and then if we can progress further, then that'll be a good situation for all of us.
On that point, Tim, he said he takes some responsibility if something goes wrong on the opposite side of the field that's away from him. What do you think when you hear that he's taken that responsibility on, and is that new
He's the quarterback of the defense. I expect him to step up and be the leader, and he assumes all that responsibility. I mean, he makes all our checks for us, and if he doesn't get us in the right spots, I'm on him, and he understands that responsibility, and really we try to put that on both inside linebackers, to help out in those situations. But it's really, really important to him to know exactly what's going on during the course of a play, and what happens when he comes off and he talks to me and he talks to our defensive line coach and even our secondary coach. He's able to piece things together more maturely this year because he understands things better, and he understands what those positions are supposed to be doing.
Did Deshaun White continue to progress like you hoped? Is he going to be in the road, at least on the two depth and things?
I'll say this about Deshaun White. He's ready to play. And, how much he plays is really going to depend on how things go early on in the season. But he's really has great instincts. He played the position for 4 years, which is a big bonus. I haven't had a lot of guys, at the linebacker position that have just been linebackers. So he's got great balance. He's really got good vision for a young freshman. He understands the game. Is he there yet? No, but he can be a factor, and hopefully sooner than later.
He seems like maybe one of the best examples of this new red shirt policy, that you can keep him engaged in practice, knowing that at any time he could be in there if he's not playing early in the season.
I would be surprised at the end of the season if we would even be considering talking about that with that particular young man. But that being said, it's true that allowing us to have 4 games, any 4 games, for these freshmen to play in, and still being able to keep the redshirt option open is a good thing. I think that's one of the best rule changes that we've had for this year.
We got to keep moving on, Coach Kish. Anything else?
What does it say about a guy like Curtis Bolton goes down with injury last year, and he's still in the thick of this battle, thick of the positions, and especially at the will with Caleb Kelly?
Well, one of the things that Curtis afforded us last year, and he came in special packages, and we used him in a lot of different third down packages because he's a playmaker. And he was making some significant plays for us in those first 3 games, but unfortunately, with the injury, that hurt him. And he's got the most experience of anybody, having played several positions for us this year. So I think that's been a boost for him and a confidence builder for him as well. And he's really been a big-time playmaker for us in camp as well. So that's bode well for all of us.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.